They'll never say it like this on the news. But I'm going to. The US government just blinked. And if you care about silver, even a little, you need to hear why. Because this isn't some website issue or a harmless inventory hiccup. For decades, we've been trained to treat that silver quote on a New York screen like it's the truth. 2 decimals, clean, official looking, as if a number printed by a computer automatically means the metal exists at that price. In real time, whenever you want it. But on Wednesday, January 14, 2026, something changed. An official notice came out of the United States Mint, the entity that literally turns silver into the country's coinage. To most people, it reads like a boring customer update. To anyone who understands markets, it reads like a stressful. Because the Mint suspended silver product sales to adjust pricing. Let that sink in. A government-backed manufacturer is basically saying, we can't confidently price this right now. And here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. If the screen price is real, why can't the Mint sell silver at it? They won't call it a crisis on TV. They'll call it temporary. They'll call it supply issues. But on Wednesday, January 14, 2026, the quiet part slipped into the open because the US Mint suspended silver sales. Not a rumor, not a forum screenshot, an official stop sign that forces one uncomfortable question. If the screen price is real, why can't a government mint sell silver at it? For decades, that 2-decimal quote has been treated like gravity, stable, objective, unquestionable. You glance at it, you anchor to it, and you assume the system behind it can always deliver. But suspensions don't happen in a healthy market. They happen when the math stops working, when replacement cost, sourcing, and risk collide with a number that still prints like nothing's wrong. This isn't a routine, out of stock. This is what a stress signal looks like when it's wrapped in polite language. And once you see it that way, everything else in this story snaps into focus. The paper price isn't discovering reality anymore. It's trying to survive it. And here's the part people miss, because the headline is too clean. The moment that suspension hit, the easy excuse showed up on cue: technical glitch, website issues, temporary pause. Nice, harmless words. But ask yourself, what kind of glitch forces a government-backed manufacturer to stop selling its flagship silver products? The Mint isn't a meme stock. It isn't a hedge fund managing exposure by the hour. It's a production machine with a mandate, contracts, and decades of predictable demand. When that machine pauses, you don't start by blaming a button on a web page. You start by looking at the economics underneath it. Because a mint has one job: turn metal into product and replenish inventory. If it can't confidently replace what it sells, the rational move is to hit the brakes. That's why the phrase that matters isn't sold out. It's the subtext: we cannot price it. Translation: the benchmark you're anchoring to still prints on screens. But the real-world pipeline can't reliably source and restock at that level. So the announcement isn't a footnote. It's a confession, and it quietly exposes the same fracture you felt in the first warning. Paper quotes can keep flashing, even when official channels can't operate off them. Once you accept that it's not a glitch, the next question gets sharper. What exactly broke? Where? In the chain? Because the Mint doesn't magically make silver. It assembles a product using a supply line most people never see: upstream refiners, wholesalers, and the critical bottleneck: blanks, planchets. That's the plumbing. And when that plumbing tightens, the screen price becomes a decoration. Here's the mechanical trap. If the Mint sells coins near spot today, but the cost to restock the metal or planchets tomorrow is higher, or simply uncertain, then every single sale becomes a one-way drain. Inventory leaves at yesterday's benchmark. Replacement arrives at tomorrow's reality. Do that long enough and you don't have a sales program anymore. You have a controlled leak. So under stress, there are only 3 moves: ration, suspend, or reprice. A pause isn't random. It's the rational move when the math stops balancing. And the script makes it painfully tangible with the product everyone recognizes: American Silver Eagles. When finished coins vanish, premiums jump, and dealers start quoting numbers that don't match the spot banner. You're watching the first real price signal emerge. Retail doesn't lead markets until it's the only place left where truth can't be papered over. And that's where the story stops being a shortage and turns into something more dangerous, a split market. Because once retail premiums detach, you're no longer looking at a single price of silver. You're looking at two different worlds pretending to be one. On one side, paper silver still trades at a clean number on US screens, high $80s. Tidy decimals, endless liquidity. On the other side, physical metal clears where it must, messy, urgent, and increasingly expensive. This is where the script swings the camera overseas and says, watch Shanghai. Not because it's trendy, but because it's where price discovery looks most like reality, buyers demanding metal. Not exposure. The claim is provocative on purpose. Physical pricing in Shanghai is already flirting with $98 to $100 while Western quotes still act calm. That gap isn't noise. It's the scoreboard. It's the spread that tells you which price can actually pull metal through supply chains. Think of it like a pressure cooker built from arbitrage. If the West sets a price but the East is willing to pay up for delivery, metal migrates, quietly at first, then all at once. So the proof isn't the headline spot quote you refresh every 5 minutes. The proof is the widening distance between paper comfort and physical clearance, because spreads don't lie. They only widen until something breaks, or something reprices. Now connect the dots. If Shanghai is pulling on real metal while Western screens stay calm, where does the stress show up first inside the Western system? Not in headlines, not in tweets, in the plumbing that actually handles delivery. COMEX vaults. This is where the script gets technical on purpose. Because the distinction is the whole game. Eligible metal is stored in a vault. But it's not committed to anyone. Registered metal is tagged as deliverable, ready to satisfy a contract. And here's the tell the script wants you to obsess over. You can have plenty of eligible metal and still have a delivery problem if registered keeps shrinking. That's not semantics. That's pressure. Then it points at the quietest signal in finance, metal leaving without noise. Large withdrawals, bars moving, and big names, like JP Morgan, show up in the conversation not as villains in a movie, but as strategic actors who understand one rule: in stress, you don't want a claim, you want the bar. That's the counterparty risk message hiding in plain sight. It's an institutional bank run with no crowds and no cameras, just inventory status changing line by line. And in this logic, registered inventory isn't a statistic. It's a lie detector. When registered drains, it's telling you the system is being asked a question it can't comfortably answer. Deliver. And once COMEX starts looking like a vault under stress, the next move is almost automatic, because markets don't break in one place. They cascade. The mint pauses. Retail premiums spike. Availability collapses. Then something flips in the public mind. If you can't buy it easily, you buy it faster when you can. That's the hoarding reflex. And hoarding isn't just emotion, it's demand pulled forward. Which tightens supply again? Which drives premiums higher? Which creates more hoarding? A loop that feeds itself. Here's the ugly part. As confidence drops, the buyers who matter most aren't the ones refreshing websites. It's the entities that can source metal outside the Western retail pipeline. Or simply pay more without blinking. They vacuum what's available, and the official programs get left holding an empty shelf and a polite statement. That's how normal turns into structural. This is why the script predicts a gap move, a discontinuity. Paper can't keep floating at a calm number while physical clears at a different reality forever. Eventually paper either jumps to meet physical, or it loses authority as a reference price. And the script hammers one magnet again and again for a reason. $100 isn't just psychological. It's mechanical, because once the spread gets too wide to ignore, the market doesn't glide, it snaps.